which is our latest staircase feature exhibition here at the Art Gallery of St. Albert. My name is Emily Baker. I'm the curator here at the gallery, and it is my absolute pleasure to take you through Diana Ohiozobo's beautiful exhibition, Through the Tide. And so for most of today's tour, what you'll be seeing are photographs and videos of the work Resilience 2 installed on our staircase, as well as some extra resource images that will help give some context and some extra understanding to the stunning artwork. And so Through the Tide is made up of one artwork that's hanging on our gallery staircase. And to give you a sense of what the gallery space is like, I've created a little bit of a film that takes you and kind of simulates the experience of coming into the gallery when you first arrive. And so this is on the main floor of the gallery building. And so you can see that mostly on our main floor is a gift shop and retail area. And then we come up to this beautiful staircase space, and this is where Diana's work is currently being exhibited. And so Through the Tide is an exhibition and an artwork that honors the growth and perseverance that follows periods of hardship. And so Diana wanted to reflect on her own experiences and give voice to self-belief and sort of celebrating that confidence that comes with confronting life's ongoing challenges, whatever they may be. And so while she was raised in Nigeria, Diana currently lives and works in Edmonton, Alberta, and she's very much inspired by her African heritage and reflects on femininity, vulnerability, and place. She has a wonderful quote from her artist statement that I'd like to share with you now. And so, my studio practice is influenced by African themes, objects, including masks, sculptures, and fabric. These elements are the basis of my paintings, and I explore rich cultural heritage and identity. And so Through the Tide shows a single artwork, which is this one here, called Resilience 2, which is installed on our staircase, as I mentioned. The work is about 1.8 meters wide, and those yarn bits trail down to be about a total of 3 meters in height. And so the looping braids at the bottom and the yarn trail down below the piece and actually go below the wall, so you can see them from the main floor. And they're meant to sort of move and respond and react to the environment around them. And so when the air conditioning or the heat comes on, they sway and shift in the breeze a little bit, providing a bit of an ever-changing element to the work. And so the lines themselves are free-flowing and intuitive, and they merge the faces of the women and their hands on the work themselves. And so the piece really creates this sense of community as well as an atmosphere of caring. And so it's almost like Diana is cherishing the knowledge that despite struggle and despite difficulty, we are never truly alone. And so who is the artist to begin with? And so Diana is an artist, like I said, she currently lives and works in Edmonton, but she's had quite the international education and experience. And so she was born in Leeds in the United Kingdom, but grew up in Nigeria, surrounded by her friends and family, as well as being immersed in this really rich visual culture that we will come to talk about quite a bit. And so she attended Ambrose Ely University for her undergraduate degree in fine art. And she mentioned that the training program there is quite similar to the art education programs that exist in North America. And so what I mean by that is that when you're taking a bachelor's degree in fine art, you're taking both hands-on studio classes as well as lecture style courses. And both processes expose you to different kinds of art making and materials, so sculpture, painting, weaving, collage, as well as the lecture classes, which expose you to different histories of art, different practices, techniques, traditions, and tools that you can use and bring into your own art practice, almost giving you a visual dictionary to pull from. And so one of the things that Diana mentioned she really enjoyed about her experience at Ambrose Ely University is that they allow undergraduate students to teach art classes recently after their graduation. And so they hire them back on to teach these studio classes, which is something that Diana really enjoyed. And she found that she had a really strong passion for teaching art as well as creating it. And that's something that she has carried forward, as you'll see, in her education and her career goals. In 2016, she moved to Canada. At the time, she'd been studying in Teesside University in London, but then moved to Saskatoon, which is in Saskatchewan. After that, she was accepted to do and finish her Master of Fine Arts at the University of Calgary. And while studying there, she again had the opportunity to teach, this time focusing on mixed media art and synthetic cubism inspired by Pablo Picasso and George Braque in her classes. And so this idea of cubism and abstraction is something we'll come back to later on in the tour. And so not only does Diana have her Bachelor of Fine Arts from Ambroseli University, her Master of Fine Arts from the University of Calgary, but she's also completing a Bachelor of Education at the University of Alberta currently. And on top of this impressive educational resume, she's had solo exhibitions in Edmonton at Metro Gallery in 2020, The Works in 2019, as well as in Calgary at the Alberta Society of Artists in 2019, Gallery 621 in 2018, and the Little Gallery in 2017. And those were all solo exhibitions. On top of that, she's participated in group shows in Edmonton, Calgary, and Saskatoon, as well as at Ambroseli University, Edo State, and in Lagos in Nigeria. She's given numerous lectures and workshops at various universities, as well as presented at conferences in Calgary, Banff, and Lethbridge. And so this is a pretty impressive resume for someone who is as young as Diana is, and really on the cusp of becoming one of the foundational artists in Edmonton and area. And at the end of the tour, you'll have an opportunity to learn about more exhibitions that Diana is participating in the coming months here in Alberta. And so as we dive into her artistic practice, I wanted to start with another quote. And so Diana writes, "My work is focused on femininity, vulnerability, place, identity, crafts, and cultural practices with unconventional, traditional woven fabrics. These fabrics are woven in different colors and hold traditional and cultural associations that are worn on special occasions. They have decorative motifs, bold geometric patterns, and a wide range of colors, including pink, red, orange, green, and purple." And so what she's talking about there is the physical materials that she's using to create her artwork. As I always like to say, art never exists in a vacuum. And for Diana, she's really pulling from her lived experience and her personal cultural heritage from Nigeria and West Africa. So as we dive into the artwork, you'll learn a lot more about the fabrics she's using, because she's not working on canvas in this piece, as well as her intentions for using these alternative fabrics and really wanting to create an artwork that is very holistic in its intentions. And so what I mean by that is that she's harnessing a meaning for the work and the forms and the ideas that she's playing with. And she wants the materials, so the physical things she's using to make the artwork, to support that meaning and to play an active role in forming it. And so rather than creating this work on canvas, she's using traditional African fabrics, West African fabrics, that she has memories of being used for clothing and celebration and different events from her own history and her own background and experience. And so as you're getting the sense, Dan is really creating artwork that are centered on her own lived experiences as a woman growing up and learning in Nigeria, as well as pulling from her cultural heritage. And so while she was doing her Master's of Fine Arts degree at the University of Calgary, Diana really wanted to investigate this idea of using materials that support those artistic ideas she's playing with, like I mentioned, using the materials to support the idea and having them work hand in hand. And so what that meant was moving away from painting on canvas to painting on materials that had associations for the ideas she was playing with. You get the sense that Diana is really wanting to explore sort of the social, economic, and political issues surrounding women and communities in West Africa and in Nigeria in her artwork. And so it makes sense to use fabrics and materials that are common in that area in the work themselves. And so here, just in case you needed to locate yourself geographically on the map, I've included a little map of where Nigeria exists in Africa. So it's right on in that little curve in the horn, as well as some samples of fabrics that we'll be using in a program that Diana is teaching for us on Saturday on the left-hand side of your screen. You can get a sense of the patterns and the vibrancy that are involved in these fabrics. And we'll be talking a lot more about their cultural roles, as well as the role they play in Diana's artwork. And so as you may get the sense, if we are exhibiting a piece called Resilience 2, that naturally there was a Resilience 1 to look at and explore, and this is it. And so while we're not exhibiting Resilience 1 in the gallery space today, it's really important to understand this piece in order to understand Resilience 2. And so as I mentioned, during her Master of Fine Arts degree, when Diana made this work, she was really interested in exploring fabrics and the visual culture of Nigeria.